Now, when I hear about these gray divorces, I'm like cheering these women on because it's really obvious why they're doing it.
What if your wife came up to you and said she wanted to add another woman to the bedroom? Would you be okay with that?
If he wants a sandwich,
You make daddy a sandwich.
most of the time.
Well, this is the view of the modern women in our Western societies. Is there any wonder why more and more of you guys are choosing not to get involved with this type of women? Many of you guys are waking up to the reality that it is better to be alone than to deal with them. And a lot more of you guys are choosing to go someplace else outside of Western societies to find that which you can't find here. Welcome back, guys, and thanks for tuning in. I have some more videos to react to give you my take on them. As always, let's get into it.
Let's talk about the increase in gray divorces. I am hearing from divorce attorneys, and I'm also just kind of seeing it, where there are more of these marriages, these long marriages, 30, 40 years, that are breaking up. And it used to be really unheard of. You know, every once in a while you would see one or hear about one. And there was a lot of this talk, almost like sunk cost fallacy, where it's like, well, you know, you've been in it this long, like why bother even doing something different? You know, you've been married to them for 30 years. At this point, why bother? Why reinvent the wheel? But I think people who are going for these divorces, and it's usually women,
No shit!
and they're saying, you know what, I don't know how many years I've left, but I am not dealing with this. Now, when I hear about these gray divorces, I'm like cheering these women on because it's really obvious why they're doing it.
Well, let me address the first thing she said about that generation, how rare it was for them to get a divorce after being married for 40, 50 years, and how it is so common today. Well, in my opinion, the biggest reason for this is that those women back in the day did not have social media. You see a lot of these women now in social media, on TikTok, making videos, what it's like for women to date in their 60s, 70s, and in their 50s. So a lot of these women, when they were married back in the day, they didn't have the influence of social media telling them constantly that they could do better, that they deserve better, that the man they're with is not good enough. And with all this constant propaganda before them, they then believe that they could do better, that he's not treating her the way that she deserves to be treated. And now she has this belief of what she thinks is the proper way to be treated. And then they tell themselves that the man is not fulfilling that need. Hence, they put in for divorce.
To this day!
And to address her second point, of course, she's going to cheer on all of these women who are divorcing their husbands because misery loves company. And I give you a caution to all of you women who are married and who are in good, solid relationships. The worst enemy that you will have is a single, unmarried, divorced, bitter woman.
Give her a round of applause. Come on, give her a round of applause.
And she will start finding fault on your husband and feed you all of these lies so that you also become miserable like them. So you better protect your marriage or your relationship from this type of women because they will sabotage your marriage or your relationship. They hate to see a successful woman with a happy, successful marriage flourishing, doing good, because they can't have what you have.
You're goddamn right.
This one is for the married men, and you have to be honest. Okay, you ready? What if your wife came up to you and said she wanted to add another woman to the bedroom? Would you be okay with that? Or would you be like, no?
As a man that has been happily married for 23 years, I can answer you that question. I know for a fact that my wife will never ask such a question, for the simple fact that I took the time and did the proper vetting of her, her friends, and her family. I knew exactly where her values and morals were. And this is a woman of high value and high morals. Ever since I met her 20-something years ago, she's still the same girl till this day. Those values and morals haven't changed. Now, for those of you guys who have a girlfriend or a wife that asks you such a question, The thing that comes to mind is that you failed to do the proper vetting of the woman, which is why I tell you guys that you can never rush into relationships or marriage. It is an interview that you have to do. You cannot think with your head downstairs. You have to think with the head over your shoulders. It is imperative that you get this one right, because if you don't, you're gonna pay for this in the worst possible way.
Would you be okay with sharing your bedroom experiences with your wife and another woman? Or would you like to keep it to just the two of you? I know the answer might seem simple and obvious, but a lot of guys give me different answers. Some say that they don't want to share and they'd rather just keep it between them and it would ruin their marriage. So I want to know where the majority sits. Answer the question.
As you might have guessed, I went to the comment section of that video to see what men were saying, and there were a lot of men saying, hell yeah, that'll be awesome to bring another girl into the bedroom, especially if my wife or my girlfriend brings her. Many men were saying this. Now, there were a few men that said, hell no. But there was one particular comment of a married man who said that he did that. And that was the worst mistake of my life, because it brought me nothing but problems and headaches and arguments and fights. That every time we got into an argument, she will always bring up that woman, that I'm probably sleeping with her behind her back. Gee, who would have thought that that woman was going to weaponize that experience? Look, this is a trap. The woman can't come and tell you straight up that she wants to open up the relationship or the marriage. So one of the ways to do that is this way, bringing another woman into the bedroom, so that when it is her turn to sleep with another guy, she can say, well, how can you deny me this when I didn't deny you that? So basically what she is telling you is that she wants to open up the marriage without telling you that she wants to open up the marriage. And if you fall for this, then don't complain when she then comes to you and tells you that it is her turn to sleep with other men.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Okay, help me here. Why do guys that I'm interested in end up not wanting to pursue me? And then guys that I'm not interested in pursue me and pursue me hard and do not give up? Please make it make sense.
Because your sexual market value is not as high as you think it is. That's why those guys reject you. Plain and simple.
If anybody needed another reason to hate our government or the US, here's one. So I'm a single mom. I have 2 kids, a 2.5-year-old and a 4-year-old. Their dad is in their life 50%, no complaints there, whatever.
Run!
Last year, I had to pick up a second job because I literally could not survive without it. I also had to have taxes not taken out of my full-time paycheck because I needed the whole thing to, again, survive. It was like a $200 difference every check. I had no choice. I just went and had my taxes done. Oh my God, it makes me want to cry just saying it out loud. I owe $7,000. $7,000, and that is after getting credit for the kids and childcare. We paid almost $18,000 in childcare last year, and we got a $600 credit for it. $7,000. I even went to look and see how much doing a payment plan would be, because I can't come up with $7,000 by April 15th. There's no way. I would have trouble saving that in a year. If I were to do a payment plan, I would be charged 8% interest rate on the total amount owed every month, as well as a 5% late fee charge every single month until it was paid in full. So I would get charged 13% on the $7,000 I owe every single month, and I would only get 180 days to pay it off. What?
Well, what do you think it was going to happen when you selected zero deduction? That is your federal government in action. What did you think was going to happen?
Full transparency, if I did not have my kids, I would not be here. I hate life. I truly hate living.
Stop it. Get some help.
Well, let me tell you something for both you men and women. Ending it is not the solution. Never think about doing such a thing. If you have your mother, your father, your siblings, and if you have kids, they need you and they depend on you. No matter how hard it is, never consider that as an option.
I have no free time. I have no social life. I have no dating life. I have nothing that makes me happy about being alive besides my children. And even then, it sucks because I can't give them the life that I want to or that they deserve because I am always struggling. If I could start over, move to a different country, I absolutely would, but I don't have that option. So for how my life is in this state and how much I am constantly struggling, I would choose to not be here if it were an option. And that is really fucking sad to say.
If he wants a sandwich,
You make daddy a sandwich.
most of the time.
No. Let me ask you this. Well, okay, let me ask you this. If me and you out and somebody say something slick to you,
You punch him in the face.
You want me to smack him in his mouth,
Yep,
right?
That's right.
So if I take you on a date and I say, look, baby, we gonna go Dutch.
No.
Exactly. If we walking up to the car and I don't open your car door, what do you say?
Open the door.
You better believe it.
Yeah, no, I am with you. I think
So you
that-
make daddy a sandwich.
My nigga.
You guys see what comes with modern women? They demand and expect of you to do all of the gentleman things. But the moment you ask of them to do some of the lady things, all of a sudden it's a problem. They're not a maid. They don't belong in the kitchen. The interaction of these two is the perfect example as to why I keep saying that a traditional man with a modern woman, that dynamic of that relationship will never work.
It's always, oh, it'll happen when the time is right. It'll happen when you're least expecting it. I'm tired of being rejected. And this is in every facet, like not even romantic relationships, which, by the way, what the fuck? Why am I the only one left out? I feel so rejected in every corner of my life right now. Fucking new moon, full moon bullshit. I don't know what's happening. What the actual fuck? Like, don't tell me any of that shit. Like, it's gonna happen when you least expect it. It's gonna happen as it's meant to be. Okay.
They don't like you. I don't like you. Nobody likes you.
Well, is there any wonder why men don't want to be around this woman? If you were to sit down with this woman and tell her, you know what? Maybe it's you. Maybe you are the problem. Maybe you should look at yourself in the mirror and do a self-evaluation and see what things you need to change. I'm willing to bet money that this woman will say that there's nothing wrong with her, that she is a 10 and that she is perfect, that everybody else is the problem, not her.
You goddamn right.
If a man has all day to talk to you, he's broke. There's no way that a man that has a vision, a plan, a purpose should be talking to you on the phone all day. If you're in your 30s and 40s and you talking to me all day on the phone, what do you do with your life? Problem with us as women is we naturally want quality time. That makes us feel more loved. But I'm telling you right now, some of us are asking for things that we actually don't want. If you want that kind of man, I promise you it doesn't come with the person that's going to talk to you on the phone every day. It just doesn't.
If you want a Beverly Hills mansion and you want a country club membership and you want 9 weeks a year and a Tuscan villa, then I'm going to need to take a call when it comes in at noon on a motherfucking Wednesday.
Men got stuff to do. They got purposes to build. They've got dreams to go after. And then I can already hear the woman saying, we make time for what we want. It's true. But what if right now that's not the season that they are in?
I can attest to this based on my personal experience. When I was grinding trying to build the wealth that we have, I remember telling my wife on several occasions not to call me while I'm working because I am busy and I don't have time to talk. If it is really important, something that needs to be addressed, yes, call me. But just to talk, I don't have time. And I know a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs who are the same way. We, ladies, don't have time to talk when we are grinding, when we are trying to build something for ourselves. So you have to take either or. You want a guy that has a lot of time for you? Well, most likely this guy will be broke. I sort of agree with this woman. But if you want a guy that's going to give you this lifestyle that you want, you have to understand that that will be coming at a sacrifice of you not seeing that man, not as much as you think or you want to have him.
When you're in love with someone, you're going to organize your schedule and make them a priority. And then you get married and, you kind of get accustomed to having each other around. And then everything else is more important and the relationship drifts to the bottom. And then people get dissatisfied and they start looking for excitement and adventure otherwise. Well, you can't do that. You have to prioritize the relationship. Like my observation clinically has been for a couple to maintain their relationship without it deteriorating.
All right, guys, I need you to listen up. Pay very close attention and take note.
They have to spend 90 minutes a week together talking about their lives, about how the house is run, about what they've all been doing to keep their stories caught up. And then they need to spend at least one time having a date And 2 is better. 1 is necessary. 2 is better. You can't aim for a lot more than that because, life is very busy. And if it's going to be sustainable, it has to be realistic. But they need to make time for each other twice a week and talk in a non-romantic way.
I have actually applied this and it works. The one thing that we do is that we take vacations, just her and myself, without the kids, at least once or maybe twice a year. I will highly recommend that you do that. One of the things that he also mentioned on another podcast, that he was talking to one of his clients, that he had a problem with his wife. And one of the things that he was telling him, that he needs to spend at least 10 minutes a day talking about trivial things. Nothing about work, her work, the kids, nothing. It's just trivial. Do that and then come back and report. Well, the men did, and the relationship significantly improved by doing this. So it's funny that my wife, sometimes she tells me, hey, by the way, we haven't had our 10-minute trivial conversation of the day. So we normally do that when we are laying on bed, the kids are asleep, and it's just her and myself, and we're just talking. The one thing that we do is that we go on dates every Saturday, but if something comes up and we can't go that Saturday, we go the following. We try to do it at least at a minimum of twice a month. But I would suggest, guys, that you do that. It actually works. I have implemented what he says, a lot of the things he said in my marriage. And I also have implemented some things that other people have told me. People that have been men that have been successful in their marriages as well. It does work. It requires some work at the same time, but it does work. You both have to be on the same page. And the most important thing is you both are going to have to want to do the same things. You guys are going to have to want to continue to be together. As far as my marriage is concerned, we have been solid for 23 years, and I've known her for more than 25 years, and we have gotten along very well. So it does work. I can't stress it enough. You just have to be willing to make it work. You both have to be on the same page. It is my hope that you guys take care of yourself, build yourself up physically and also financially. No one is going to come and hand you anything. No politician. We as men, we are on our own. That's just the way society is. Watch your six at all times, and I'll see you next time.